Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Nerd Tube. And it's Ms. Marvel, time and again, episode 5. I'm here with cousin Cheeto and D Jose. How you doing, Cheeto?
Doing good. About yourself?
Fantastic. And Jose?
This is episode 5 of Ms. Marvel from the first season, brought to you by this red Solo Cup. Go buy Solo Cups now, dag nabbit. And if you don't like this video, Caillou's going to come to your house and flood all your sinks and flood the house. So like this video.
Before we start, please like and share, subscribe this video. We're a small channel, but we always want to be known. I just want to say, first of all, Cheeto, what a fantastic job you've done with the cover art.
He literally put it together in 10 minutes.
I literally threw that together in 10. I can't believe you're that flabbergasted by it. After all the thumbnails I put like tons of effort into, this is the one he's flabbergasted. This is the one that I'm just like, I just grabbed a random face of Miss Marvel that's kind of looking down, and I threw it on Marty McFly's head. And
on this day, Cheeto's greatest achievement.
I know, right? It's the one I would never expect.
I genuinely love it. So this is the penultimate episode of Ms. Marvel. It's a bit of a, if I say a mishmash, that would possibly be a sideways statement in how to describe what I'm saying. But I just feel like we kind of substituted one bad guy for another, so to speak. Would you say that? And because it felt like the clandestines were the main villains of this show, but now I think they're pretty much done. And now
they're well done.
And now it's Damage Control who's taking on the baton.
I'm gonna throw in a reference. That was Toasty.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I kind of feel a little bit like I was wrong when it came to Damage Control, because I genuinely thought they would be the people in the middle, but now they definitely are, without a doubt, the villains of this show, which kind of feels very left field considering we've been following the clandestines around for most of this series. Nevertheless, before we start breaking it down, Cheetah, what did you think of this episode?
I think this show's really losing its splendor for me. As I said, I mean, all the things that made it nice and charming, and I mean, some of the parts with the mom and the grandma was really nice. Even like the small conversation, and we'll get to this, but the small conversation between the cousins and the mom about the trade, like the spyware. She's like, there's spyware.
Find my phone app.
Like, all of that stuff was so endearing to this episode. It's just, I mean, like, going back, well, you can get into it, but like the going back in time stuff was kind of
we've done it. Yeah, we've done it. It's
it's just like, okay, it's like okay, sure, I feel like that was just kind of thrown in there, and I don't know if it has anything to do with the Miss Marvel actual lore in the comic books, but I don't know what to make of this. Like, I feel like this show it's losing me, but it's keeping me hooked at the same time. Like, as I said, like I'm more vested into like the family drama and what's going on there with the grandma and with all that, but like the clandestines and the Department of Damage Control and all these other things, I don't care. So this episode was very mishmashy for me, as you said. Like, it's mishmashy, like it's just kind of I don't know. I'm very in the middle about this episode.
Jose.
It's a mixed bag. I like that they slowed it down. Thank God they did that with this episode. I'm like, okay, good. We got more dialogue. That was what I wanted. We got more backstory about the bangle and the family and this and that, which is what I wanted, as I said, because last week I was like, we all weren't crazy about how breakneck paced it was, and now they slowed it down. They gave you time to tell a story and whatnot. But I'm with Cheeto, too. It's like, this just felt okay. Like, it's like, we got one episode left, and I feel like, they have to bring it. They have to finish strong, because we all know what this is going towards. It's going toward the Marvels next year, and they got to, create as much hype and demand for it as they can possibly do.
And I don't feel like that Captain Marvel in the last episode is going to be a natural thing. I feel like it's going to be shoehorned in if Captain Marvel comes in. Like, I mean, maybe she'll show up in a post credit. Yeah, maybe she'll show up in a post credit and going to talk to Kamala. about the Avengers Initiative or the Young Avengers Initiative or something like that. And okay, that would be fine. But it's like if they're actually going to put Captain Marvel in this last episode, it really feels like it's going to be shoehorned in, and I don't want it. Like as I said, if they do the post-credit scene with her and meeting Kamala, that's fine. But like if they're actually going to have her in the episode,
no.
If they do that, it's going to be so shoehorned. It's going to be like an old dress shoe from church days.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's your show. Oh no, it's my show. I'm Captain Marvel. Like that's how I see it, kind of going down if they were to bring her in. Like even though this is your show, it's my show.
I look at it a little bit differently. I don't necessarily see her being a post-credit scene, but I do see her definitely being at the tail end of the episode, epilogue style, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean maybe epilogue, but still, I mean,
more than just a couple of words and stuff like that. I mean, I think like her cameo would be maybe 2-3 minutes, which would seem enough, in overall, seamless thing. So, but that's just me, guessing and theorizing. Anyway, you ready for the breakdown?
Yes.
All right. So, Ms. Marvel, episode 5, Time and Again. And we start with the classic Marvel, intro sequence, and we have some classic Indian music, which reminded me of some of the stuff my mum actually used to listen to when I was a kid. And it goes into black and white and stuff like that. And if you watch classic Indian movies, they've got that, that I'm not saying it's like Kurosawa, but it's got that sort of look to it, of old school, Asian, Far Eastern cinema and all of that. So we see a classic news article of the partition and the mass migration of Muslims to Pakistan at the end of the British colonialism. It's 1942, and sorry, go on.
Sam, can you explain to me what exactly happened in like the 1940s? And because I only had a chance to watch it once, and I guess I could do my own research, but maybe coming from you, I would understand it better. Like after the British occupation ended, why were people migrating and going to other places in India?
There was a conflict between Hindus and Muslims, and there were more Hindus than there were Muslims. Don't get me wrong, India's a big fucking country. Yeah, and but still Hindus are populated Muslims by a lot. So because of the different ideals, because like for little things, I mean, it might not seem like much, but Hindus, for argument's sake, like animals are their gods, not for Muslims. Muslims they don't pray to animals, and so when you see like a Muslim butchering a goat or a cow or something like that, they're butchering their fucking god, and they're eating their fucking god, and it stems from things as simple as that, and it's those little things that then it flares up to be big. Well, I mean, it's not a little thing if you're a fucking Hindu, you know what I mean? But it's those sort of things that stem up to be bigger things, and then there ends up being a conflict. And I'm sure the British obviously stoked the fires as well. And
and they said in the episode that the British were what was the word they said? They were basically forcing conflict between two people.
There was definitely, yeah. I mean,
I was trying to follow it, but as I said, I only had a chance to watch it once.
Because in this episode where we start in 1942 to where we see Kamala, which is not 1942.
No, it's like 1947, I think.
Yeah, it's like 5 years after the fact.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Maybe 47. So it's just after the
5 years.
World War II end. World War II ends.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, with lots of Muslims then moving up north to what would then be Pakistan, a brand new country, so to speak. It was just the British way of maybe stopping any further conflict. So somebody had to take the brunt of that conflict, and it was the Muslims, and then they got sent north because of it. By the way, if you ever get a chance to see Pakistan, it looks like inland Europe to a degree, like places like Switzerland and stuff. It's very beautiful.
Oh.
Anyway, obviously there's parts of it that look like India and all of that, but then there's other parts of it which is more mountainous and stuff. Anyway, nevertheless, let's continue.
Okay.
So it's 1942, and we see Aisha running from a British soldier. Now this is probably just after what we saw at the beginning of episode 3. where they discovered the bracelet in that chamber, which was of the 10 rings, and after she kills the British soldier, but she does kill him, she runs into a village where Kamala would be great grandfather is giving a speech to the village about living in India. Aisha is now sleeping in a rose field, and the great grandfather offers her some food and shelter at his place. She gives her a fresh paratha. And by the way, if you like your breads, Indian breads are some of the best, honestly. Paratha, rotis, naans. Oh my God, fantastic. It gives her some fresh paratha and some mangoes. And he asks her questions in a subtle way. And she's already starting to get smitten with him. She says her name is Aisha, and then he tells her his name is Hassan. A few months later, and Aisha's already pregnant, and then a little bit later after that, we see her have her baby, which would be eventually Kamala's grandmother. Hassan is and by the way, Kamala's grandmother's name is Sana. So Hassan is listening to radio news about the internal conflict in India between Hindus and Muslims. Aisha sees her friend Najma, who is Kamran's mum, in the field, and she wants to basically.
It's time to go home.
Aisha is conflicted now because she wants to go back to her relatives, and Najma wants to go back to her land in her realm and all of that. Aisha wants to stay because she's now a mother, and she basically lies to Najma about hiding the bangle because they need the bangle to get home, so to speak. The riots intensify, and the Muslims are being flushed out of their homes with fire, and it won't be long until the turmoil reaches her son's home. Aisha wants to move, and as the couple are now already reaching a train station, because we got to that particular stage, her son wants to know exactly what the fuck is going on, because he knows there's more to this than just avoiding conflict.
Yeah, and he didn't want to leave his house. Like, he was like, "This is what my father built. I don't want to go."
Yeah,
and it was the thing of like, may not want to go. It's kind of like we have to go. Like, something's going to happen if we don't.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, Aisha's kind of keeping the fact about Najma away from her husband because, it's just it's stuff that she can't comprehend.
Yep.
So Aisha shows Hassan the bangle though, and briefly explains it to him. But Najma is close by, and Aisha then tells her husband to run and puts the bangle on her daughter Sana. A pissed off, by the way, intervene any time. By the way, a pissed off Najma catches Aisha, demands the bangle, and then when she realizes she doesn't have it, she stabs her, knowing that she hasn't got it.
That's the equivalent of, is Wayne Brady going to have to choke a bitch, and then Wayne Brady chokes a bitch? I mean, that's essentially what she did. She's like,
yeah.
I told you, bring this motherfucker, stab. And then she's like, all right, you go. I'm going to find that damn bangle if it's the last thing I do.
Yeah, Najma was fucked in the head, man. And young Sana, aka Granny, has been separated from her dad, and Aisha is dying from a wound. Aisha then quotes the text from her bracelet: "What you seek is seeking you," and then bish bish bush, young Kamala appears, and seeing the bangle, Aisha seeing the bangle on young Kamala, she initially thinks it's her daughter Sana all grown up, and it gives Aisha peace of mind, thinking that her daughter is safe, even though it's not her daughter, it's Kamala. But theoretically, if it is Kamala, then your daughter is safe because your daughter had to have grown up in order to have a daughter of her own, and then that daughter to have Kamala. So theoretically, it's the same thing, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But it gives Aisha peace of mind, and she passes, and then and Kamala has a picture, and then she gives Kamala a picture of a photograph that is of her
parents,
Sana and her son. Yeah. So Kamala finds Sana in a crowd, and with so many people around, she tries to create light platforms for her to walk on, but they end up breaking, and it becomes a trail of glowing like stars, and that leads Sana back to her father, who gets on the train now to Pakistan. So that trail of stars, which was spoken about by Kamala's dad, this is what it ended up looking like. and we have like the grandfather paradox. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit like a grandfather, but in a positive light, so to speak, because in a way, Kamala's grandmother knew that this moment
It was like a
happened.
destined to happen kind of thing. Yeah, it was
because
like
she
supposed
remembered
to
it,
happen.
barely remember.
Yep.
Yeah. So with her destiny complete, Kamala is back in present day, and the portal to the clandestine world is now open. Back at Kamala's home, Kamala's mum uses the Find My Phone app to track Kamala. Yeah. Yeah, Najma friend.
Well, how she's like, how am I just now hearing about this?
I know, it's been around for what, like 10 years?
It's been around for a while. I'm like, how did you not hear?
How did you not know about this? I mean, everybody knows about this. I use Find My Phone.
But we're talking about old school boomer parents, aren't we? So,
well,
anyway,
yeah, it's true.
It's amazing how many things pass you by. So, nevertheless, Najma's friend, the black lady who's also clandestine, she died trying to get through the portal, and then Najma herself, who's desperate to get home, knowing that she might die.
Yeah, Kamala's like, you got to close this fucking thing, and then it was like, it was you that caused all this, because they had that little like banter back and forth before she
It's
decides
not just that.
to
She also reminded her, look, you've got a son. You shouldn't be doing this.
Don't do the stupid shit.
I mean, she's crazy anyway. Like I don't understand this whole plot, this whole arc with her, and I'm assuming she's dead now at this point. But like, I mean, I don't understand this whole arc with her where she forsakes her own family and all that, just to get home. Like,
her spirit went into Cameron though, didn't it, or something weird?
Yeah, like her essence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. This is the Superman and Lois season 2 has been doing something kind of like this, where there's like 2 different universes, but then when you try to transcend into one, you die rather than actually transcending.
Okay.
Like, so it's
sounds like some convoluted type of thing or something. Sounds just.
Well, I mean, I figure the bangle will come into it. She has to. I mean, obviously, she wasn't wearing the bangle, so I'm assuming that she has to be wearing the bangle. The bangle maybe will protect her as she goes through, or something like that.
Yeah,
they did this kind of thing in Superman and Lois to a degree, and it's just kind of like, I'm still kind of like, I don't care about this.
You're not buying it. Yeah,
but the thing, just to add to this particular topic, if they're from that universe, and obviously they are because they haven't aged while they're in our universe, then why the fuck is going back to their universe killing them?
Who knows? See, that's the thing.
I don't have an answer.
But that's why we don't need this part. I'm sorry. We don't need this part of the story. If you would have cut this whole part out of the story,
it probably would have made the episode better. Actually,
yeah.
If they did
who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like I really don't care about this whole. I mean, I was more interested in Kamala like learning about her heritage and learning about the past, and although the time travel stuff was kind of meh, it was still better than what we got with the dimensional rift that's going to swallow you whole and make you bony.
Yeah, the best part of this episode was the dialogue between the mom, Kamala, and Grandma when the revelation came out that she's Light Bright. Yeah, I know I fucked up the name. I don't care. I love
when Grandma's like, she's like, I told you we're magic.
Yeah, like I told you we were magic, and then the mom looks at the grandma like, what the fuck? Like, this is for real? Like, this happened? And she's like, I've been trying to tell you this shit for like the last like 20, 30 years, and no one ever listens to what I'm telling you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like gobbledygook, doesn't it? Like Trail of Stars and magic, even though they live in this universe.
Mm-hmm. But even the Trail of Stars thing makes more sense now. As I said, it makes more sense. It kind of you guys were right last week when you said it kind of full circles the time loop and everything like that. And I'm kind of glad that this didn't become a big thing. Like the one saving grace is that the time travel thing wasn't a big thing. It was she went back, she met her great grandmother or great grandmother, whichever one. Then she helped her and then she helped her grandmother find her grandfather or great grandfather, and then we were done.
Yeah,
as I said, that was great. But then it's like then we got like this whole dimensional rift thing, and that's when I'm like, guys, like
it's when you lose it. Yeah, it's like okay, you got
dimensional rifts and you got portals in the sky. Like
some of the cultural and historical stories are quite fascinating and interesting, but the moment they start adding that Marvel formula to the mix, it just doesn't work, unfortunately. Because I did actually like just seeing the relationship between great grandma and great granddad. and them coming together and having a daughter. It was very sweet. You know, I really enjoyed it. But then once Najma came on the scene, they reminded, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yep.
But that's the thing is that, like, I mean, they right now what they're doing is they're giving us like our entire history, but Marvelizing it. Like Thor: Love and Thunder, we already know Zeus is going to be there and everything like that. We've seen that that's in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. But it's like, so now we're getting the Olympians and the Greek gods in Thor: Love and Thunder. We're getting we got the Egyptian gods that are, you know, apparently extra dimensional beings in Moon Knight. Now we're getting the Jinn that are now extra dimensional beings in Miss Marvel. Like, they're giving us way too much of this. Like, I feel like we're getting overloaded with all these extra dimensional or multiversal or all this other stuff.
We're having a God complex moment, aren't we?
Yeah, we're literally having a God complex.
We still got the Nordic gods as well, who were at the very beginning of all of this, like
Thor
and Loki, or the other Loki now. And you know, if you wanna throw in Odin or not, even though he's dead, and we did have Hela as well. So we had Nordic gods. We've got every element.
We've got God. We've got God. We've got.
Won't be long. Jesus will be here soon, man.
Yeah, like what? I mean, like what? But that's what I'm saying. Like, and D. Jose put it 100% correct. Like, the Marvel universe has a God complex right now. Like, every single god has got to be in every single property, and I get it. Like, they want to put the Hindu faith a part of, like, you know, that part of it and all that. They want to incorporate all that into Marvel universe, but it's just like,
well, they're putting it's more the Muslim with
the Muslim,
Gore
it's just like,
it's culture, not to do with gods more than anything. It's more Muslim culture, but Gore, but we got Gore in it, the God Butcher. So he'll come along and start fucking taking heads.
You know, Dan, maybe that's what we're doing here. Maybe Gore is going to come in and take care of all these gods, and we're just next week after we all see Thor: Love and Thunder, we're all going to be like, well, so much for all those gods we were talking about. They're all dead. I mean, I have no idea. So I mean, they may all be dead by next week. We don't know.
Yep. Tomorrow will be very interesting because tomorrow Thor comes out.
Godless.
Yep.
Anyway, so like the essence of Najma ends up going into Cameron, which is unusual considering Cameron's got these powers now, but we never really saw Najma have these powers. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, Kamala's mum and granny sees Kamala's mum and the granny sees Kamala using her powers, and Kamala's mum in particular now basically understands that all the magical stories about her family is true.
Yep.
And Kamala then says goodbye and thank you to Kimo, who in return gives her a red sash, which will probably be part of her uniform for the final episode. Probably. Because we always have to have a fucking uniform in the final episode.
Yep.
Don't we?
And that kind of irritates me because I kind of wanted her to have the uniform after like two episodes.
2, 3, yeah.
Like what's his? I don't even remember what's the young kid's name? His friend?
Captain America, Falcon's Captain. Sorry, Sam Wilson's Captain America has done this now, and so has Hawkeye. Just for the reference. So.
That's another damn trend that we're dealing with is everyone having to have their uniforms. It's like, okay.
And honestly, Daredevil did that. And I know it's a different, like,
he did.
It's not Disney Plus, but Disney, in episode 13 or 12 of Daredevil got his red outfit in season 1. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I was kind of hoping that we would get her uniform earlier on from the techie guy.
Yeah, like let's get this out the way.
Yeah, but no, we gotta of course now have the great reveal of her superhero uniform in the final episode.
And I already see how it's gonna play out. Like in the cameo, everyone will have their gear on. Like that's just how it's gonna go. Like you'll see Carol show up, you'll probably see Monica show up and be like, "Oh, here we are," and it's like, "Oh, okay, fucking fantastic."
Listen, unless the cat shows up, what's it? Yeah. Not the Corbinite. He's not I don't remember what the cat was.
It Goose?
Goose, yeah. It might be Goose.
Yeah, Goose needs to show up.
Yeah.
Some people are actually saying that Scott Lang might show up in the final episode.
Huh?
I wouldn't
mind that. That'd be an interesting twist if they did that.
Yeah, that would be an interesting twist because he's got the podcast that she was listening to, and then maybe she called in and he said, "Oh well, you called into my podcast at one time and you were talking such random stuff," and then you're like, "But like I felt like I had to investigate," you know, like."
What would make this funny? What would make this funny is if this is like all like gets to her YouTube channel somehow, and then like she just blows the fuck up because it was like there was only one YouTube reference and that was it. And it's like, okay, I wonder is Kamala going to be a big YouTube star now or some shit?
Well, that's if she keeps a secret identity, but unlike
Yeah.
Spider-Man, who Peter Parker covers his entire face.
Yeah.
That mask ain't gonna fool anybody, man. But then again, like, I know this is a different property, but Clark Kent only has to wear fucking glasses, and no one realizes who he is.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. But I did say in the previous podcast that this is where I would like to see some of the previous series meshing with the current series, like Avengers Con. Sam Wilson's Captain America should have been there, signing autographs or whatever, or like
No, I
or
feel like
Bucky
that
Barnes.
would have been a perfect spot for Scott Lang because he has the podcast.
Yeah, Scott Lang.
Yeah.
Scott Lang should be there.
That I agree with. I think that would have been
Yep.
a great cameo if it's just like, and here's our guest, Scott, and then Kamala knocks the while Ant-Man's there,
Yep.
she knocks the Ant-Man head off the.
Like,
off
oh,
the
It's just that every series we've had doesn't feel intertwined with every other series. So to see Sam Wilson's Captain America at Avengers Con would have been ideal, in my opinion, because then we finally seen a person from one series in another series, but however brief it would have been, whether it been a 15-second cameo or whatever, just something to show that that all of this world is still connected. But we sometimes need reminders, because name dropping Thor and stuff like that.
Name dropping is one thing, but when you have them show up, it's like, okay, it gives you a little bit more of importance.
Exactly. So anyway, let's just wrap this up now regarding the play
breakdown. Yeah.
So Kamala finds out that her mum, when she was a kid, when she was a younger lady, she was a bit of a rebel in her own way, and we see pictures of Kamala's mum young back in the 80s and stuff like that. And it just seems to be a common thread, not amongst the Khans because she's taken her father's name, but just amongst the people on her mum's side of the family, Aisha, the grandma, mum herself, now Kamala Khan. The women, in that side of the family all seem to be independent, strong, rebellious, do what they want to do, which is a nice way of portraying Muslim women, in my opinion, as well, and not just housebound, servants of husbands. I really liked this. This was very important. I thought this was very good.
Yep.
So back in good old US of A, Kamran sees Bruno, still calls him Brian, but he's going up to him as a last resort because there's nowhere else for him to go. And when he invites him into his house, I mean, this is where you kind of realize that Kamran's a bit of an idiot, because he sees a picture of Nikola Tesla and he goes to Bruno, "You like cars?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Dude, this is just weird, man." Like, he's like, but you got to figure shit out.
But it kind of shows you how stupid Cameron is to a degree.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Mm-hmm.
But then they decide just to start, on the right foot this time around and introduce themselves to each other. So he goes, "Yeah, hi, my name is Bruno."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh shit, I thought your name was Brian the whole time."
Yeah, and exactly. Just 1 second here. Daniel Vaughn says Bruno will be the new Bruce Banner science guy for the Young Avengers.
I could see that because I know. I watched the video the other day. They're talking about all the things that we could see beyond that. I'm thinking Young Avengers will be coming in. The West Coast Avengers will be a thing at some point. They're going to be getting ready to blow this shit up. It's getting ready to get pretty damn big.
This guy, actually, the actor who plays Bruno, he comes across quite nerdy in this show. Mm-hmm. He's actually more like a jock in real life. You know what I mean? It's funny. Mm-hmm. It just shows you his acting skills, that he can change his demeanor to come across like a nerd. Daniel Vance has also said all the best science jokes are gone.
Get out.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I get it. And luckily, I learned that one recently. But yes, I get it.
Get out. Get out.
I feel like Amadeus Cho is going to be that character for the Young Avengers, but I mean Amadeus Cho and probably he'll become the Bruiser Hulk. So, he called himself Bruiser, but I call him Bruiser Hulk because it just basically he's like Hulk Light is basically what he is.
So once the clandestines have been killed off, I think to myself, hold on, we got one more fucking episode here, and I don't know who the bad guys are anymore. But lo and behold, we see a Stark Tech drone pop up, and it's from Damage Control, and they figure out that Cameron is there where he is, and he shoots out some of his new powers now, which I don't know what the fuck that is. But in turn, then the drone shoots a rocket and blows up Bruno's shop, and this is where we see Damage Control now as the new villains.
Okay, so now we know what the final episode is going to be. Damage Control coming in to fuck everything up, and Kamala has to get home in time. That's going to be the premise for next week's episode.
But I mean, Mom kind of knows what's going on now. I mean, like, that's the thing. I mean,
the family kind of knows that Kamala's secret identity to an extent.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a part of what I don't like is that, you know, I'm okay if like the grandma figured it out, but it's like now the mom's in on it, and it's like, so now we're gonna have that basic conflict of Kamala, you shouldn't do this, it's dangerous. You shouldn't do the superheroing because it's dangerous. And you got the grandma who's gonna egg her on and say, oh, you should do it
because she did say because the mom did say, like, I'm not ready to let you go yet. So you know there's going to be conflict there in next week's episode.
And
I can't let you go do this, but
I disagree. I think it's more to do with the father now. Like, I think Kamala's mom. I think Kamala's mom will accept what her daughter is through what she learned from what she saw her daughter do at the end of this episode, and from speaking to her own mom, Kamala's grandma Sana, about the trailer stars and just understanding and knowing that they're special, they're magical and stuff like that. And I think if anything, it'll be Kamala's dad who will have a problem with it initially, and it'll be Kamala's mom who will say, you know what, this is who she is, this is her destiny.
Yeah,
yada.
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel Vaughn says it goes back to the poems and songs we've all heard all along that talk about what's right and not necessarily the law. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I say that.
It'll be a morality kind of thing. It'll be all about morals and shit. Like, yeah.
I could just imagine the next week is like you can play that song, America, fuck yeah, and then you're gonna have all these fucking drones and shit blowing the shit out of. Come on, look, we're trying to get the terrorists, and they're like shooting guns and they're destroying whole fucking streets and stuff like that and blowing up everywhere.
If we don't get the American flag in the background, I'm gonna be pissed because we have to have that. If it's gonna be like an American,
they're gonna send in Bro Force.
Yep.
Yeah, Bro Force.
If they're gonna have an America fuck yeah moment, it's like you got to have the flag just draped across, like in the background somehow.
It's gonna be interesting here because you've got like basically a section of the American government, which is what Damage Control is, and then you've got this, this Muslim woman, a girl, running around fighting them. How are the people on the streets going to take this? Are they going to look at the government people as the right guys, or are they going to understand that this young girl with superpowers is not a villain but a hero? I mean, and
I could totally see them doing like a news clip segment at the very end of the episode, like who was in the right in this, Starlight or the Damage Control people. It'll be something bullshit like that.
And that's another thing as well. She hasn't given her name yet as being Ms. Marvel. She's still anonymous to a degree.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to be called was it Starlight?
Yeah.
No, Starlight's from The Boys. Nightlight.
Nightlight.
Nightlight. Yeah, Nightlight. Yeah.
Lightbright, as I like to call her.
Well, and actually, Daniel Vance just brought something up that transitions right into what I was going to say. No unregistered superheroes. So, but that also brings up a point: is that in the comic,
she has to sign the Sokovia Accords. Is that what you're saying?
Well, she would probably have to sign the Sokovia Accords, but that also in the comic books recently, in the Champions comic books, there's been something that's called Kamalas Law. And what happened is that in the comic books, Kamala was injured and put into a coma due to a superhero fight. Now, she was in that fight, but they didn't know that because they protected her identity. But the politicians and everybody and the people ran with it and said, well, we need to protect our teens as well from these teen superheroes. And they said, so they made Kamalas Law, which makes no unregistered teen superheroes. And I get it. It's kind of the same thing as the Superhero Registration Act, but it's like, but it's, they're the Sokovia Accords, but it's like, now it's more focused on teens and teen heroes. Not like they're not allowed. So wouldn't it be interesting if in the last episode something happens and then they start to talk like the Department of Damage Control starts to talk about Kamala's Law, which would all, maybe not Kamala's Law, but like they start cracking down on, they start cracking down on the super teens.
That's
And
actually
then,
that's actually a good point because, like I said, I think the MCU is about to go younger because I think that's what their direction is. Now that like Tony and Cap have kind of had their time, and yeah, we've got She-Hulk coming up in about a month, but then after that, I think Bruce is probably going to fade into the background, and it'll all be about younger people. They're responsible for
Stark Tech is yeah. You could tell because I remember in
yeah,
was it
No
episode
Way or Far
3,
From Home, right?
or not just that, but in episode 3 of Ms. Marvel, like when Damage Control came in to stop the clandestines, you heard like the sound of like that, pew, like
Yeah.
Tony Stark's thing coming
Well,
from
and
the
that's
guns.
because in No Way Home they confiscated all of those.
Yep. Y'all think Tony's
yeah.
going to be back? Because like this is kind of related, but I heard like
Tony.
the Illuminati is going to be getting something, and Tony Stark was in the Illuminati. I think in the comics, he might have been in it.
I don't think I mean, the only Illuminati is from the Multiverse of Madness. That's the only thing I've ever heard, and it's basically that Earth's version of the Avengers. It's not like it's not like the multiversal Illuminati like I thought it was going to be.
And I also think at the same time that if we do get a Tony Stark, it won't be a Robert Downey Jr. version.
It'll be somebody younger. It'll be a young Tony Stark.
You know, it could be exactly. It could be it has to be a high caliber actor because they wanted Tom Cruise to play an alternative universe version of Tony Stark, which was there is actually a deep fake going around of Tom Cruise in Iron Man.
Tony.
He's which is a good choice, but Tom Cruise is actually older than Robert Downey Jr., I believe, just by a year or two. By not much, but he wouldn't be. Like Tom Cruise is, as much as I think he's one of the last bastions of movie stars in Hollywood. I wouldn't want him in the MCU.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I mean, you guys were talking about him being like the Tony Stark. That's what I felt like that Illuminati scene was for, is giving us all of our fan castings, like Anson Mount again as Black Bolt. You have Patrick Stewart as Professor X. You have John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic.
You got the dog wagging his tail
Haley
in the
Atwell as Captain Carter. Yeah, like that was like the fan casting Avengers. Like that was the fan cast Avengers is what that was. And that's what they did. I mean, they basically gave us what we wanted. So now they're like, okay, can we move on now, please? Like, we're going to kind of do what we want to do. But here is everybody you guys want to see recently because you wanted to see them. They're here. Oh, wait, Wanda killed him. My bad.
Yeah, I could only imagine like people being impatient, and like, "Where's Deadpool? We gotta have Deadpool. We haven't."
I wanted Deadpool in that Illuminati. I thought that would have been the perfect.
Hilarious.
I want to get back to Ms. Marvel, but I have to mention regarding Deadpool, this thing with Deadpool, this feels like everyone's going on about Deadpool, but would it ever be fucking made? Because people have been talking about it for Deadpool 3 for a few years now, and nothing at this particular moment in time.
They have a director and all that. They're
he's
in
coming.
the process.
He's coming.
If it happens, I'd like to know some pre-production stuff. But back to Ms. Marvel, who is like, yes, the Damage Control are the villains now, but who is the villain?
Who's the head guy?
Lady?
Yeah, that's what
was it that lady we saw in one of the earlier episodes?
I honestly don't care. Like that's. I mean, I know you're asking the question, but my point of view is honestly, I don't care. The parts of this show that really are intriguing me have nothing to do with the villain.
I'm more intrigued.
No, but how does this get resolved? Sorry, Jose. How does this get resolved? I mean, she can't go around killing everyone. You know what I mean? She's gonna like this. There has to be a resolution to this. Does Ms. Marvel come in to does Captain Marvel come in to stop it all? You know what I mean? Like, somebody who's respected, when it comes to the superheroes.
I like Cheeto said, I just don't want Captain Marvel to be shoehorned in, and I feel like that's exactly what they're going to do. They're somehow just going to be like, oh, here she is, whether it be Carol or Monica, one of the two, or both.
Monica Rambeau hasn't earned her stripes yet.
Yeah.
But Carol Danvers has. So,
they put enough of her in that first episode. I feel like if they don't put Captain Marvel in the last episode, at least in a cameo or some kind of significant scene at the epilogue, like Sam said, I feel like they are doing a disservice to the fans because she was all over that first episode. I mean, the Avenger, the Captain Marvel costume, all the Captain Marvel stuff, even in all of her book drawings and stuff, you saw Captain Marvel all over the place. So
They
if we
could
don't
have,
see
If she's called Ms. Marvel for fuck's sake because she's a fangirl.
And they could have, that
she
would
has
have
to
also
be in
been a
this.
perfect cameo too, because like, okay, well, Scott Lang, he could have been like my special guest, you know, Captain Marvel, you know, that would have been cool. It would have been like, okay, so at least we got something.
Yeah, we don't. They don't even meet. It's just Scott Lang introducing Captain Marvel on his.
Yeah, it's like that's it. Yeah,
that's so stupid, but it's funny.
It's so stupid, but it would work. It would be like, oh, okay, cool.
I'll be honest with you. I am 100%, and you know, if it doesn't happen, a payoff needs of some capacity needs to happen for satisfaction. But I just could not see Captain Marvel not appearing in this. You know,
that would be weird if she didn't. It'd be like, you got a show dedicated to Miss Marvel, but no mention or no nothing. It's like if they did that, it would pretty much flatline the series for me because they have to finish strong because next week's the last episode.
Well, and they're also risking going to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. levels of not importance because think about it, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like, you know, like I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a lot of it, especially the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, the first seasons were really good, and then I think after Nick Fury shows up, it was like, oh, okay, cool. They got Nick Fury. How much bigger can you get?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, and then you know, and Zam's right about the crossovers. It's like we've gotten a lot of crossovers, like Wanda crossover to the movies, but it's like we need movies that cross over into series. And yes, I understand Falcon and Winter Soldier are from the movies. Wanda and Vision were from the movies. Loki was from the movies, but those are main characters.
No, we need series to cross over into series.
Well, but you could get that with like Monica Rambeau and Captain Marvel showing up because then that brings WandaVision and the greater MCU because if they both show up to, you know, if they're tracking down Miss Marvel and they both show up, then you've got a lot of connective tissue there.
I don't want Monica and Captain Marvel because I want an interaction with Monica and Captain Marvel because I haven't seen that yet. It would be weird if them two come down together. Not seeing how Monica has hooked up with Captain Marvel again after all these years.
Maybe Monica Rambeau can see the worlds that were shown to Kamala on the map. Maybe.
So I'm not up to snuff about what Monica Rambeau's powers are like. I know she's photon, but like I'm seriously behind on what her power set is. I know she can manipulate photons, but
look, COVID had an effect on WandaVision, which is but apparently Stephen Strange was going to be in WandaVision, but that never turned out. But a lot of people were theorizing just shit. I mean, there was one point where people were theorizing Reed Richards was going to be in it.
Yeah, he was so
had a frame, and people were complaining. Like I was thinking to myself, you can't be, you know, this was like boss man level of fucking theorizing. This is where I believe where like Apocalypse started popping up.
Apocalypse, we have to mention that the running gag. Apocalypse did it. Damn
it. But didn't he say Haywood? He said Haywood was Apocalypse or something. Yeah, that's where that whole thing started.
Yeah. Damn you, Apocalypse! You bastard! You caused all this.
But then after that, because like so many things never turned up because of Mephisto and all of that shit, it never happened. None of these theories popped up. You know, it was just
but then Kang happened, and it did happen. So.
Yeah, I'm going into Kang now. I'm going into Kang because people were very reserved when it came to Loki because if we thought to ourselves, well, who is this mysterious person we haven't seen yet? And people were putting their money on Kang. But considering they got burnt last time around with WandaVision, people were kind of reserved. But it was fucking Kang. It was him, you know. So people lost their shit over that.
The statue changed. You done fucked up. Yep, that's going to be the theme of Phase 4. You done fucked it up.
So now it's all up in the air now. But this feels more than. I mean, if I had to make a bet whether Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, will turn up or not, my money would be more likely that she would turn up than not. You know, I think there'll be a feel-good factor to it all, and meeting your heroes and all of that. I mean, I'll probably start crying my fucking eyes out.
We're gonna get a fangirl. We're gonna get a fangirl moment if nothing else, because that has to happen. Like Kamala just has to lose her shit. Like, oh my god! Like I see that already.
Exactly. And by the way, also when we saw her broken necklace and her mom and grandma were like looking at it like, oh my god, look at this broken necklace. Yeah, It looks like the S on the Ms. Marvel. So
Well, it's the S on her. If you look actually in the bottom right corner here, it's the symbol that's on her uniform.
Mhm.
So essentially, they're probably going to change that lightning bolt into that's that necklace. That's going to be what is it? Her name spelled in Hindi, right? Or what did she say?
Hindi probably, maybe Punjabi. I don't
So
know. I mean, I'm not good with the
I think, but it
written
was
words.
mentioned, I think, in episode 1 or 2. Remember where she's like, "Oh, what about this necklace?" And oh yeah, remember she was talking to in episode 1. She was talking to the Twitch girl or what Tinder girl or whatever she is.
Tinder girl.
What is it? TikTok, the TikTok girl. That's like, oh yeah, this. She's like, oh, it's a cool necklace, and she's like, yeah, it's my name in Hindi, and it's like, okay, like. And I didn't even realize it was her symbol sideways at that.
Oh, you mean Nakia, who we haven't now seen for a few episodes now?
Yeah,
I know, right? Justice for Nakia.
Yeah.
We want more screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she's hot.
She's fucking hot. Yeah, man, she's fucking hot. Sorry, my juicy just done a juicy.
No. I'm talking about the TikTok girl, the one that.
The TikTok girl that does.
Is it Zoe? Is it Zoe?
Yeah, I think it might have been Zoe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a TikTok girl that blinks and gets 1 million likes. I mean, yeah, you can do anything.
Yeah, and she like gets hit by Thor's hammer, like swinging, and then and then Kamala saves her with the big hand.
Big fat girl.
Yeah, like bright save me.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. This last episode is just—it's going to be. This is another one of those. It's like they need to really stick the landing on it.
They need to finish strong for real.
Well, I really felt like this episode was much better than last episode.
Yeah.
Last episode was a mess to me. This episode was a step in the right direction to get back, but in the right direction. But still, there was still stuff in there that I'm like, I don't even care. Like, as I said, as soon as I started talking about dimensions and portals and all this other, I'm like, and merging of universes, I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, you got that in Doctor Strange. It's like, okay, we heard all that, blah 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 blah. Yeah.
All right, how's she gonna get a uniform?
The nerd.
Brian's gonna make it.
Yeah, the nerd. It's gonna be nerdy nerd.
He's already made one. Like, I mean, he's not really. And
you already know they're gonna have the they're gonna have that in the background. Like when she finally shows up, they'll do that full tilt of the camera, and then it pans up, and it's like and then she looks all pretty and bright and shit. Dun 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 dun. Yep.
Night bright.
I just get a bit concerned because like when I saw this episode and I saw, oh god, it says 40 minutes, so that's probably going to be maybe about just over 30 minutes of actual film footage. If I see something like 45 minutes even, I'll be very disappointed. I want the previous episodes were just over 50 minutes when you started watching it, and I feel there's a lot to cram in, and I want it to be that length, and I want a satisfying ending because these shows are rushed.
I feel like there's a lot to tie up though. Like, what's there to tie up? We've already tied up the clandestine.
Well, she needs to get back to America for a start. I mean, how's she going to? I mean,
the DODC is going to be the big thing, so that's going to be pretty much, I think, about it. And then, like we got to mention it. Like the world is ending. Like that's obviously what it's going to be.
No, I don't think that's happening anymore. I think with the clandestines, that's
please
over,
God, let it not happen. Please let it be done.
Even Cameron, like there's other characters as well. Like Cameron's now got powers.
I mean, that's a loose end they definitely need to tie up. Whether it be he's a good guy and just see, that's what I don't understand. Like, I mean, why would they put why would they put a second Captain Marvel in, or not Captain Marvel, a second Ms. Marvel-ish power person in there? Like, we don't need it. Unless he's going to be like a villain.
In the comics, he's also inhuman in the comics, and he has powers. So
unless the spirit of Najima or whatever the fuck her name is takes him over, and then like it's like, oh, I don't want to have to fight you, but I got to fight you, type of thing. Because
I know you're still in there. Fight it.
Yeah,
fight it.
Mm-hmm. They do that weekend cliche.
He could have a heel turn by the end of the episode.
So God,
that is a possibility. We'll see now he's got all these powers and stuff. Will he lose himself? Will he end up being more like his mum than he realizes?
If you knew at the moment,
yeah, exactly. So there's all of that. Obviously Kamala getting a suit, the rest of her family realizing, then dealing with the flags. Well, I keep thinking flag smashes. Then dealing with damage control, which will
might as well be the flag smashers. That's about how I mean, they've been in more than one show, like because obviously they were in Spider-Man No Way Home, they were in Spider-Man Homecoming. I think they've been in other parts of the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, like in very small ways. This is the first time they're on the offensive, I think, on anything. Like this is very aggressive for the DOCC or DCOC, damage
Department
control.
of Damage Control, DODC.
Yeah, DODC. So this is very aggressive for them compared to their other outings in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how much time that takes. When it comes to dealing with them, is she going to deal with the head honcho? And the resolution to that is more interesting than anything because
if they got
government employees.
If they got stuff to tie up, I say maybe keep it about an hour, maybe 5, maybe an hour 10, but that'd be about it. I don't want this being one of those like super long episodes, like being an hour and a half. I'm like, you could tie everything up.
No, it won't be that. This is not this is Disney Plus, not Netflix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it won't be Stranger Things like level, but even once everything is resolved, they'll need like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of wrap up. With it, just her knowing her destiny now and maybe joining Ms. Marvel or whatever, and then flying into the skies.
I have to save the world.
I kind of don't want that though, because I kind of wanted Kamala to be more of a street level, and I get she'd have to eventually meet Captain Marvel, but I don't know. I want her to be street level for a while. I don't want her to get Spider-Man in the MCU, like just getting thrusted into this whole MCU like Avengers level shenanigans.
This is where I want some crossover from the series. We're getting She-Hulk next year. Wouldn't it be great that she has to go into that and defend herself? And is She-Hulk or even Matt Murdock, it's just somebody who we recognize, just tie into all of that. I mean,
I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for
it can't be too much.
I'd be down for like her doing one thing, she fucks off, and then it goes into the next series.
Well, as I say, I wouldn't mind there be an episode where Ms. Marvel has to appear before court, and maybe
the court. Yeah, like the end of it, she has to go to court. And then what's the name of Bruce Banner's cousin, the character?
Jessica Walters.
Yeah, like Jessica Walters
or Jennifer Walters. Sorry, Jennifer Walters.
Like at the end of Ms. Marvel, Jennifer Walters represents Kamala Khan, and at the beginning of She-Hulk, Kamala Khan's won her court case.
Yeah, that'd be the perfect way to wrap up Ms. Marvel and go into She-Hulk. It's like you could do kill two.
I feel like it would be an interesting way to also introduce a superhero protection
act, like you said.
Yeah. The Superhero Protection Act, where superheroes can appear in court without revealing their identities until they are like proven guilty, because that's also been a thing, is superheroes have the right to protect their identity until they're proven guilty. So maybe Kamala submits herself for judgment, and then that could lead into like, I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they'll just
they should, but they won't.
Yeah, they won't. I don't think they thought of that. Marvel just needs to hire us, is what they need to do.
Well,
free shit.
When the clandestines were arrested by Damage Control and they were taken to that prison, which they ended up escaping from, that's the same place fucking Abomination's at. So
were they at the raft?
Yeah, that's when it came to some of the other more prominent YouTubers who know their shit. They basically were saying that they were at that place where Abomination's at.
Oh, okay.
So so they managed to escape that, which is incredible in its own right, because it shouldn't be so easy for superhero people to escape, and they're not like the top tier superheroes or supervillains even. They just happen to be a bit strong.
But maybe that's why they got out. Maybe it was because they're not. I mean, it's not like the Abomination can sneak out, but maybe some normal looking people might.
Abomination doesn't need to sneak out. He just needs to fucking Hulk smash his way through stuff.
Yep.
Like, if they're able to suppress his powers, then they should be able to suppress, people with lesser power quite easily.
But a lot, the Abomination's power and stuff like that comes from science, whereas the Jinn's power, I think, is derived from magic, right?
Well, as Force says, magic is science, but it's just different.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we're also speculating on something that A, probably will never be explained, and B, they didn't even care enough to show us on screen. So I think we're just making headcanon at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I did actually also like this one particular person on Facebook was saying when I posted our links regarding doing this podcast, saying that he's had this is one series he won't continue watching. He's had enough. But I told him, come on, mate. There's only one episode left.
Sounds
Just
like
see
me
it
and the
through.
boys.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
got one. You got one left. You can hang it out for one more episode.
And this is where it's going to be funny because She-Hulk is 9 episodes, I believe. That's
Damn.
going to test people's. That's going to test people's endurance because a lot of people have had problems with the recent Disney Plus shows because there's not enough episodes.
Yeah, but I also think that they're going to be shorter episodes. I think that those are slated.
Those are going to be like 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't see those going longer than.
It's going to be like
gonna be
WandaVision
awful.
because WandaVision's episodes were like 20 to 30 minutes depending on the week.
And then the finale will be like the 52-minute episode or 45-minute episode.
Maybe.
That's probably what they'll do with She-Hulk.
Well, Mandalorian was 8 episodes, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was 8 episodes, but some episodes were like 25 minutes. So
I would say some of them were not long at all.
But like episode 1 of season 2 was like 50 minutes. And,
anyone know how long this one of Miss Marvel's going to be? Because I know they usually do like timestamps and that kind of shit. Anybody got an idea?
My presumed guess is 45 minutes, but I want at least 52.
Yeah, I could see that.
I will take no less than 54 and a half minutes.
I'll take 55, damn it. 55 would be perfect.
I'll raise your 55 and raise you a 55 and a half.
Yep. I'll raise you 56 minutes.
Well, look, as long as the longer it is, the better it is, because at least we know we're going to get a ram pack full of content.
That's what she said. Yep.
So we're going to get a lot of content, and and if we do see something which is like over 50 minutes long, you can then think to yourself, yeah, Carol Danvers is showing up.
Yep.
So that
final ratings time.
I'm going to give this episode. I'm going to give it a generous 7 out of 10. I mean, just culturally, I can appreciate this episode because of things I can relate to. So 7 out of 10 for me. Chia?
I'm going to give it a 6. It's better than last week because I think I gave last week's a 5. So I'm definitely going to give this a 6. I do agree with Zam. I mean, the definitely like the cultural aspect of it and learning the past. That stuff that I thought I wouldn't like this week actually surprised me, and I like that stuff. As I said, it's just the stuff that kind of happened afterward with the portals and bullshit that I just didn't really care for. So, but I'll give it a solid 6 out of 10.
I'm gonna before I get to, sorry. One second. Is one question. I see the series of evolution of old one shots. Series are just meant to put more pieces into place. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
I mean, it's more like throwing like coins into a wishing well. Like, I mean, they just throw shit wherever.
Well, if you want old one shots, by the way, this is why I recommend watching Love, Death, and Robots. It's very good. Anyway, D. Jose?
I'm going to give it a 6. I thought it was a good episode. I like that they didn't have to go super fast and breakneck pace, because I know next week we're getting back to that. Next week it's going to be
it's going to be action packed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you want a light episode, this is the one to watch of the entire series. But yeah, next week it's going to be breakneck. We'll have to watch it twice. I already see that now. But yeah, it was a good episode. Finish strong, please. That's all I ask.
Exactly. So just to let everyone know that tomorrow myself and Cheeto will be back talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the final episode of season 1, and Orville, which has been probably my favorite show on Disney Plus right now. The one show that they are knocking out. Well, for me, it's Disney Plus.
Oh, I keep forgetting that. Yeah.
And Hulu Plus, Disney Plus, it's still
all the same shit.
Yeah, it's all Disney at the end of the day. So for me, I'm loving that show so fucking much. It's fantastic. It really is, and that's the only thing I think Disney Plus are getting perfectly right at this moment in time. Everything else, not so much, including this show, Ms. Marvel. So please keep an eye out for us for that. Will be same time tomorrow. 11:30 UK, 6:30 Eastern.
Yeah,
so
as
keep an
best
eye out for
as
that.
best I can. I'm going to try to watch the episodes while I'm doing my thing, my volunteer thing, and then I'll hopefully get through enough of it that I can, I'll
Yep.
definitely be on for Strange New Worlds. I want to be a part of that one, definitely. But
And then on Friday, if you guys want to join us for that, we'll be talking about the season finale of The Boys. And I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be, we talk about humdingers, I think we're going to be getting one hell of a humdinger for that particular season. But I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, and because Jose has not seen it, and he needs to get his fucking ass on board.
Spoilers.
Watch that
Stuff
shit.
happens. Oh, I just spoiled it. I just spoiled what happens. Stuff happens.
bastard. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, you need to at least watch it for the shock value and the shock.
Okay, yeah, because I've heard like people just will not shut up about it. I'm like, all right, I'll start watching it.
You get on that fucking gravy train. You got 1 week to watch 3 seasons, man.
Jesus,
Listen, DH. For you and the audience watching, if you're not watching, I mean, look, as a person who's not exactly thrilled with it, I still say it's worth a watch. I mean, it's well produced, it's well written, it's well done. It's just there's some things that there's some shock bait and some super shocking stuff that they do every episode that doesn't sit too well with me, but it sits well with Zam and Ginger and all them. So it's you never know, but it is for what it is. It is very, very good.
Okay, so, I'll take your word for it. All right.
You've seen Peacemaker, haven't you?
Yeah.
If you like Peacemaker, you'll like this.
Okay, yeah, that's enough. Yeah. You've sold me.
That's all you need to know. We're talking comical, gory,
some toilet humor.
This is an 18+ show. Peacemaker is. Swear words, nudity, gore, violence, hardcore violence.
All right, I'm sold.
There's some hardcore nudity too.
Yeah,
I'm sold. I'm on it. All right,
especially in season 3.
Okay.
So there's only 8 episodes per season.
Okay, so that'll be plenty of time because I can watch. Yeah.
You can watch all 8. You can watch. You can watch all.
You know how long the episodes are? Like about an hour.
It's an hour an episode, but like the 24th episode. If you go back to back, is on tomorrow. Is on Friday. So if you start watching now, actually it's this Friday, isn't it? You think you can watch 23 episodes in one day?
No, I don't have that kind of. I don't have that kind of like when I was a kid, I could do that. Like I could sit and watch 8 hours of TV, but
I don't know. I think once he starts watching, he's going to be hooked. So I think he might make it.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those where if nothing else, I could join in the chat and just give my reaction, like, "Oh my god!" Like, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, and obviously, if you go on our YouTube page, you'll see fan film reactions and reviews. I recently reviewed Beavis and Butthead, Do the Universe. That is actually.
Oh, go ahead.
That is actually a really good nostalgia trip. And Mike Judges, who makes Beavis and Butthead, he's bringing a new series for 2022, and there is a time travel thing in this episode. And
my god! Enough with the damn time travel. We get it already. Shit.
But because they're from the 90s and it's now 2022, so it does make sense because when the series continues, it'll be post this movie. So it makes sense, So it's funny. It's not like laugh out loud funny every 5 seconds or whatever, but
every once in a while they'll do a joke. And be like, I understood that reference.
And the funny thing is, it's only 1 hour 26 minutes long, but even that feels long at times.
That's what she said.
Because this is a show that is less than half an hour long on the telly, so making it feature length, you do feel the length of it, but nevertheless, it is. Yeah, enough of the fucking toilet humor jokes. You should go on about me.
I was done after my one, so
I make a couple of jokes. I make a couple of comments about length. All you guys are thinking is about fucking penetration.
I didn't say anything.
This is why you like Beavis and Butthead. This is why you like Beavis and Butthead. So watch it, man. I mean, Daniel Vance made a comment on my review, and I've actually told him watch it. It's actually it's actually better than Beavis and Butthead Do America. It's much better than that. I don't think Beavis and Butthead Do America is that good, to tell you the truth. This is excellent. And maybe it's the nostalgia or whatever, but still.
Next thing you know,
It's
Daria's
excellent.
going to be. Next thing you know, he's going to be bringing back Daria because
And King of the Hill.
I've actually heard he might be considering bringing both of those back, Daria and King of the
I
Hill,
never
which
got
would be
into those. I mean, I like Daria as a character who
Yeah.
from Beavis and Butthead. Never got into her own show and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
anyway, fellas, let's wrap this up now.
Yeah.
So to everyone else out there in YouTube land who've kept with us, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye. Peace.
Maker.